everybody out there on this beautiful day. Once again, we have starting a podcast, or we kicking it back off, bringing forth reality. My name is Quillen Brown, aka Rashad Abdul Haq. I appreciate everybody for tuning in again to see what we can get, where we can go, and how far we can elevate in our life, in our circumstances that's going on with us right now. Like I said, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Appreciate the likes, the shares. Keep tuning in. We got more things coming, good things. We want to try to, like I said, I always say, our whole point is to elevate the mind, to wake us up, to get us to start looking, even though we might say that we've been looking, right? But yeah, you looking, but what are you looking at? I could see ever since I known when I don't know what age it was, but it was at a very, very, very young age. I remember when I was like 2 years old. My mama trip out on that now because I recall stuff, but I remember seeing then. So, but what was I looking at? What did I see? See, we wanna, we seek to look in depthness on these issues, these subjects, and on our circumstances as far as our own self, which is our spiritual self and our inner self. So, like I said, we gonna have something every time. It's gonna be, hopefully we working on, receiving something as far as elevation, motivation, inspiration out of every time that we meet, and every time that we embrace each other, whether it be here on the platform or whether it be out in the streets, or wherever we at, we should be seeking for elevation. I think that's the part of our duty in this journey of life that we in, because it's going to expire in a minute anyway. Like I said, it's a beautiful day. I want to get right into a topic that we were looking at today. Spiritual warfare, and I had Cam King here, my man, who's the reason behind a podcast. He's a producer, so I'm gonna let him get right on into it.
Appreciate you, Quinn, for having me on the show.
Yes, sir.
Good to be here. Very interesting topic that you got going on today with the spiritual warfare. I think it ties in great. The subject matter ties in great with what you're trying to do with helping people out with their psyches and their mental states and whatnot. So yeah, man, spiritual warfare. The question that I had for you lined up was, one, do you believe that there is a spiritual warfare going on as opposed to this physical warfare that we can actually see with our eyes every day? Mm-hmm. Tanks, bullets, bombs, drones, planes, exploding buildings, and whatnot is something on the physical plane that we can see with our own eyes, but correct. A spiritual warfare is something hidden, more behind closed doors, and to the point to where we can't really see a spiritual warfare being played out upon us here on land. So first, do you feel like that there is a spiritual warfare going on, and who would be posing this warfare spiritually against us? I'll start with that and get your thoughts on that.
Okay. I guess I don't know. The first question was, what's my intake on the spiritual warfare?
Do you believe that there is an actual? Because some people think that the government. I'll just go ahead and put it out there. Our government, supposed government, is rampaging upon us a hidden spiritual war. Poisoning of the food and water, mind control with different indoctrinations, varied indoctrinations of what, not necessarily religion, but indoctrination with all kind of foolishness in society. That type of spiritual warfare. Do you believe that is actually going on?
Yes, sir. That's a good question. Yeah, of course I do. And what the proof of it is that not only the proof that I believe is going on, but the proof that it's going on, regardless of what somebody else or next individual, how they look at it or how they present it, or if they say, well, it's not a spiritual warfare or not, well, we talking about the same thing, right? We in the same, we eating out the same, we sticking our hand in the same basket, right? So yes, of course. So when we looked at bringing forth reality and the issues inside of there, every issue in there is really dealing with the spiritual warfare, the same thing that you just said. Because even though, like you said, you got the physical, right? Just like you mentioned about the war, where you see the bombs, you see the drones, you see the people, you actually somebody physically taking somebody or killing them or doing some whatever they doing, that these acts of wars, damaging them, damaging the property, causing all these different types of acts that are harmful. I don't know if acts of war, well, it can be acts of war that's good, but the whole thing about war, and then I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna hit on this right quick. The whole thing about war, the whole point in the war, righteously, because remember everything we talking about, I want this to happen to me. We gotta remember that everything we dealing with when we're dealing with bringing forth reality is say, hey, if this is imposed on you, do you like that? Right? So war is supposed to be a protection. It's supposed to be a defending. It's supposed to be you stopping a transgression. You stopping a wrong, right? But you stopping when you in the process of stopping a wrong. That's not the war. The war is when that individual that's committing the act that's wrong, right? It's clear wrong. Then they wage the war against you or that individual. That's when the war come in at, right? Because now you're like, oh no, you oppressing. You see, because now it's down to be, oh, you oppressing. You're confining someone. You're restraining them. You're diminishing them. You're physically hurting them. You are now you done went into annihilation of this individual, which holds a higher a status of we should hold a higher status of respect as a human being to handle or to commit certain acts upon an inhuman being, an innocent human being in this fashion. So now that's how it becomes the war. So the war is supposed to be you're supposed to get out of water the protection part. Hey, I'm fighting because I'm fighting for a righteous cause. Now to come back to what we were saying on the spiritual warfare that we're dealing with, right? It's not necessarily, like you say, Cam, it ain't physical, right? Um, it deals like when we talked about the sleep inside of here, and we talked about the disturbance of the sleep. Remember, we had talked about that before. Um, so if once that happened, then that's a war right there, because it's a strain now. It's a strain on the body. If I'm in sleep deprivation, then that's a strain. That's stress. That's, oh man, there's something going on right there. That's a war. You see, so you correct. Another example would be, I mean, if somebody is on the job and the supervisor is just, steady oppressing, they got a whip out. They hitting them with lashes. Because, hey, you should have did this, you should have did that, but they might not even be understanding. The person might have some kind of ailment that they didn't even look deep into and say, hold on. Then ask them, why did you not make that production or this and that? Only thing they know is because they in a position. Now they done got arrogant, and that ain't even how it's supposed to be as somebody that's a superior anyway. By you being superior, you supposed to have superior thinking. And you're supposed to use your mind in a superior level to where it's on a superior level, not the where you it's a we have taken that and flipped it, and now you're a tyrant. See, that's a tyrant. You're on a tyrant level. So the spiritual warfare is that's an example, right? Because oppression is going on now. Now, physically. Now, even though you say, well, that's not physical. I could just be saying something, and I could talk to somebody a certain way, and I could be like, man, you need to get that done. If not, then I'm going to write you up or whatever. Now, I haven't physically done nothing to them, but I have, in their mind, now I have put weight on their mental to where they like, man, if I don't do this, I'm going to get rolled up and I might lose my job. Now, what comes after that? Now they thinking about their family, how I'm going to feed my family and that. So this is where the stress factor come in at. This is the spiritual part, right? Nothing physical going on. I didn't touch that person when I told them that I'm going to do this and do that. I just said it out my mouth. Now they got a spiritual war going on in their head because they're trying to figure out, man, if I don't do this right, or if I did, then this is going to be a trickle-down effect. And I'm seeing all this stuff just transpiring in front of me. This going to go on with my family. My car, I got a car payment, I got a mortgage, I got all these bills. Now here comes a whole load of stress. The weight of the world, as they can say, that's one term for it. It came down on their shoulder. It ain't came all the way down yet, but they on the brink, because it's like, man, they already said they're gonna write me up, this and that, this and that. So
starting to feel the pressure.
Yeah, yeah. So the pressure is there. So yes, you're correct. That's and everything. Remember that we dealing with here. When you think about it, when we talk about it, it's dealing on the spiritual warfare level. So I like that. That's real interesting. So now, yes, I believe that's a couple examples. We can go into some more examples, but I think that everybody kind of got the gist of this, what we talking about when we saying spiritual war. It could be with someone's spouse. You could be too overbearing. The male can be too overbearing to the wife. Always complaining about something, even though she's sincere in what she do. You instead of giving her a comment or whatever, you might tell her, oh, you terrible at cooking. Instead of encouraging her and say, hey, showing her how to do it. Right? So now you done planting the seed in her head. She believing that she's doing something for somebody that's significant to her, that she wants to impress, of course, and she wants to come off as she wants to show her complete what word am I looking for? Love, I guess, or complete, her complete respect for her husband, and she's trying her best. Maybe we don't know. It's a lot of things that we didn't know. It's a lot of things I didn't know. Right? I had to come into the understanding of. I had to come into the understanding of this. A lot of it. It was in me, and just like I speak about this, a lot of things are in us, but they haven't risen. A lot of things that we have are in our some might call it DNA, but it's inside of our anatomy, right? That's been in that's already been encoded in us, but we haven't went in and broke the code. So um, once I was lost, but now I'm found. You know, I have even a song or poem on that, right? And we already know the old one, right? The old hymn, you know, once was lost, but now I'm found. So we all fall in that category. But that spiritual warfare is something we deal with every day. It's not a break in between it. This is how I'm looking at it now. I'm looking at it, and we looking at it in reality. Remember, I'm looking at it. There's no break in between it.
So in closing, Quinn, we're going to keep this one short and to the point. How would one, now that I am aware that there are forces being posed against me that I'm not understanding, is there anything that I can do to prepare myself, or is there a way for me to notice a little bit more frequently these things that we would label as a spiritual warfare being played upon us? Something, right. Is there anything we can do to prepare ourselves?
Prepare for it. Right. I got you. Yes. First of all, being conscious or learning about the opposer, or learning about the opposition, and the opposition may not necessarily be that individual, but it's coming from that individual. So, as you say, the forces, right? We have the evil forces, right? I don't care how you look at it or how you want to label or say, you know, it don't have to be. We don't have to get in or over into the belief, the religion belief in different aspects of different principles of the faith, but it's still you still got the one core thing. One core thing is we got forces going on, right? One core thing is we got an evil force that's because we got somebody that's opposing what we do, and we working to hold a righteous standpoint, right? And then we have the righteous individual, or the one that's striving in righteousness. And let me say that's holding opposition, because we're in opposition against the evil force. You see, so now to shorten that up and to give your answer, learning the opposition, to me, what I'm looking at is one of the main things in how we attack that, how we get prepared. You said how we get prepared for it. Learning opposition. How does the opposition? What is the normal characteristics of the opposition? What is the let's look at the breakdown of the opposition on how they attack, how the opposition, where they move in from, where the opposition come from, all different ways that they come. We need to look and see like if we on a battleground, or we out in the field, right? Regardless of what field it is, then we're looking at these different or these different ways that we can be attacked, right? You scoping that out, and then this is what you taught. You taught to scope out which way the enemy can come from, that way the enemy can come from here. Well, watch out for this, watch out for that. The same thing that we doing with the spirit that force that you're speaking about, that's opposing against us. So now that's why I believe we need to look at studying that, so we can be kind of like ahead of that. So at least you know, how I know he's gonna come from here. I know they're gonna come from right there. I know they might come from around here, or they might come from over there. So now I'm be ready for them, right? Because you're just like when you getting ready for war. I got my sword and keep my little ammunition right here. I keep my weapon over here, and then if I need to pull it out, I got it real where I can pull it out. If somebody come from this way, or I'm just saying. So now we study the opposition. Now I think the next thing that you said was how do we get prepared for it? How do we handle it? Okay, now how we handle it. Now when it comes to us, we got to handle it on an intelligent psychological level. So, sometimes you be submissive to it, but at the same time, only strike or only go or only strike at it, or either what I'm saying, because you're always opposing it. Only make a certain move when it's time to make the move. So, in other words, that something might come to you, but you might take a standpoint and say, okay, yes, and then just kind of leave it where it's at, and then you still gonna make your move though, to where it say this is beneficial. I'm trying to protect myself. So just say, even when I was talking about on the job, boom, hey, I need you to do this and do that, right? Or I'm gonna do this. Now it might be something that you don't either know what you're doing, or it might be something correct that you don't know you doing incorrect. Well, now it's time to go ask that person. Now, let me ask you something, because I didn't even realize that I was actually doing something that was incorrect. Can you explain to me what I was doing that was incorrect? And can you explain to me that if it's in your rules or in your guidelines of why, or if I am doing incorrect, because I never seen that. Right? That's just an example. And then go from there. Now, if as long as they can show you, then you like, okay, I got it now. But if they can't show you, and then now they just jugging at you, pinpoint, then you just play possum on them, and then you attack them the way it needs to be attacked. You go above them, but sometimes you gotta watch it. That's a strategy too. But so that's just an example on how to handle the opposition when the opposition comes. And also, I'm going to say this real shortly. Also, if it's not a physical person, even though we're dealing with the spirit too, with the physical, if it's just some spiritual or that we're dealing with, or the forces, then I can't necessarily give you the something that's going to work for you. You just have to try different things. Me, myself, I try to always think of something or positive, or either relate to being something that I look at as elevating, or that's going to keep me in a positive standpoint. If it's something that's spiritual, if it's that I'm dealing with and not the physical. So I pray, So if you're a praying person, then you go to your Creator, you go to your spiritual power. And then you can also do things that's physical to help you out with the spiritual war that's going on. Water is one. We made of water. So sometimes you might need to take a drink of water, take some more drinks of water, or you might need to wash up and purify yourself. These are different things that you have to figure out what would be beneficial for you, and what could get you to, in other words, come away from that or elevate to the next level to beat that opposition that's going on right there. Well, so we done came to an end here. We kind of ran out of time, but I appreciate y'all once again. I hope that we got something out of this. Whether it be that something new to look at, or whether waking us up to something that we was like kind of new, but we wasn't all way aware, all way awake or woken to it. I hope that it's something that we can take and that we could share and maybe benefit to the next individual, because we're trying to once again elevate our surroundings and our environment. Appreciate y'all once again. Quillen Brown, also known as Rashad. Like, subscribe, share. Come back again. So we have some more good news and some good information for the spiritual elevation. Appreciate it. Peace and blessings.